Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and call the Budget Committee meeting back to order. We're gonna start off with Fund 189. So, Robert?
This is just a one-time fund need from capital projects due to the camera work in county buildings for the resolution 24-4-20. Sum of the funds needed is $53,000, and this is to update the equipment that we need for security officer and myself to view the cameras and playback here at the courthouse.
What about the heating and air equipment?
That your 100,000 for.
We put that in there as recurring, and I won't explain that myself if y'all let me. Every year, Robert will call me and he'll say, we have a 25-year-old unit on top of the jail that just died. We have an emergency. And the fact of the matter is, emergency is supposed to be something that's not reasonably foreseeable. I think a 25-year-old unit dying is reasonably foreseeable, and therefore I don't need to institute emergency budget protocols, go against any bidding procedures that might have to take place or whatever to get a heat and air unit into a building. So I've requested that we put 100,000 in a fund. So if he wants to keep 20-year units limping along and we squeeze every bit of life out of them we can, that's fine. But when they die, we don't set our hair on fire and run around like something unexpected happened.
So you're asking,
No, that's fine with me. That's, I like to have that there just for that purpose.
so you're asking to take 100,000 a year, every year?
It's basically gonna be there every year.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
from capital project.
We're not gonna spend it unless he comes to me yelling,
I understand.
I had one that died, you know? And then we'll deal with it and it won't be an emergency.
Yes.
Okay.
Got a question, Mr. Baines?
Any questions from anybody else?
I do. I've got
Yeah.
a question. 53,000, has that been bidded, or where do we get this number from?
That's the estimate I have from the vendor that does pretty much all of our work, all of our camera work. We do have some things to do up front that we can get in and do before we put it up to bid. But we have to put the rest of it out to bid.
Are we able to use our pre-existing equipment that we have here?
Everything has to be upgraded to handle that amount of cameras coming over to our system. And some of the systems that are out there that are recording now, we've got to have a system that records that. We can move it to this system here that we have here at the courthouse to be able to see the cameras.
Anything else?
What are you recording? What are you recording?
Well, all just video only. From some of them will have about a 3-month storage on them. Some of them are longer storage.
Comings and goings.
So everything happening in the buildings. So we have cameras in place. We'll be able to see and monitor all of those here.
Okay, I thought the sheriff was over the security part of it, of the cameras.
He will be viewing that also, along with myself in my office. I'll have footage there I can review.
So all camera feeds now come to Robert's office, so if somebody got broke into or whatever, he could pull that back up and do it for insurance or fire or whatever. Then the other piece of that's going to Officer Bueller.
Yes.
Because if we were to have like a shooting at the Veterans Office, we wouldn't even know about it, because before, they were the only ones that got to see their camera.
Yeah.
So now, he sees all of them at one time in all of our buildings, so if something bad's going on, he's gonna be notified right then, he can go to them. So, same type, so everything comes here.
Everything feeds here.
Before, everybody just kinda had their own thing.
Yeah, I like that.
Sorry. Has the cameras been changed from the audio situation that we've talked about in the resolution to not having audio capabilities? What's the status on that?
None of the cameras that we have and we have put in have audio on them. There's one building we do have to add new cameras in, just because of the status and how it reports to the recording of their server. So that has to come out, and a new camera system has to be put in place for that building there. But then nothing has audio, nothing records audio. Everything we have has no audio recording, period.
Just video?
Except for the two places.
Except for the two at the sheriff's office
Sure,
that are mandated by TCI.
sure.
Judicial commission.
Yeah.
I noticed a few cameras new cameras. Are we going to have to replace any of that within our facility here?
Nothing here has to be replaced.
Okay,
It's only the same recording system.
okay. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Anything else? Thank you, sir.
Thank you for your time.
Okay, property assessor.
I didn't have any copies. Do y'all have what I was? Oh, you got my stuff. Okay. The first thing is the $16,000 for audit services, and what that is we get a bill from the state. It's they randomly audit personal property, and sometimes we don't even know what it's going to be. Sometimes it's 50,000, sometimes it's 70,000, sometimes this year it was like 92,000. And that's because we have like a growing parcel count, more to audit, and so they'll just send us, the bill, and it's something we're expected to pay. And, do we go into the other stuff too, or just one at a time?
The increase in fuel cost.
$1,000 in fuel, that would probably, looking at that, that would get us where we need to be. And then the last thing is $25,000 for a vehicle, and I would like to see that be a reoccurring line item. It might be something that if I didn't use it, I would return it. I've never had a line item in the property assessor's office for a vehicle, and I have 9 vehicles. I have 4 good ones, 5 that need to be replaced soon. And I was able to get my own vehicles with just money that I've saved, and we kind of moved some money around here and there over the years. And I'd like to see where I wouldn't have to do that, and it would help me out.
So you want to move that from non-reoccurring to recurring?
Well,
Sounds like.
I'd like to have a reoccurring line item of 25,000, and I wouldn't use it every year, but I would like it there just in case I did need it.
For a vehicle?
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask something.
I know there's no vehicle that's gonna cost something.
You know where I'm going with
Yeah,
that one.
so what we do is, that would help us, and then I can always hopefully save, or move some money around to take care of what we need, and I've always been able to do that, so
I get that.
that's why I'm not asking for 50,000.
Gotcha. No, I just kind of.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
Okay, is there any questions?
Just are we gonna move it for the time being into
It's-
recurring column? or-
Is that what you want to do?
That's what I'd like to do.
Okay. We'll move it over there and see what happens.
And I'm not gonna get a vehicle every year, of course, it's just,
Yeah.
it's just there, I
You
won't have to.
don't get much for 25,000.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that's good.
yeah, those times are gone, but, it would help to start if and I can always hopefully, move some money around. If I can, I can, and I'd like it to be there.
Now, you said you had 5 that you're looking at possibly having to replace. Let me go ahead and, peel that back. What's
Okay.
that look like?
We have, like I said, 4 good vehicles, very nice vehicles that we just purchased not too long ago, over several years. And then I have some from all from 2008 that have a lot of mileage, a lot of maintenance. There's and I can foresee, and then anything could happen to them. I've had some that just completely we had to surplus, and as you know, the property assessor's office, that's who brings in the money, so if those aren't on the road, then, no money's coming in. So I don't wanna get into an emergency situation.
Right.
I like to, keep an eye on them. You have to foresee a little bit, take care of everything, or it won't just, fall out. But
Okay, do you have a question, Tommy? Okay. All right, thank you, sir.
thank you.
Okay, animal control.
They're sticking together. It's a little wet outside. All right, good evening, everybody. Y'all bear with me, this is the first time I've done this. All right, in our recurring, we're asking for an increase in maintenance and repair from 3377 to 10,000. I don't know where the 3377 came from. But I know we've got a couple of older trucks. One's got 168,000, one's got right at 150,000. I think we can make those last, but without a doubt, we're gonna have an issue. WEMA has been awesome in helping us out with maintenance. We get a pretty good deal, and they take care of changing oil and doing some things for us, which we pay for that, but they really help us out a lot. So that is what that's about. Hopefully I won't need any of it, but that's what that's about. Line 355, travel, an increase from 1,500 to 3,000 for travel for classes. About a month ago, after I did this, we came back and adjusted that, so we need to take that off. I'm not gonna need that $1,500. Line 399 is just an increase for $1,788. That's for a new computer program, working out really well. We feel like it's a bargain, and it's gonna help us in the future. Gasoline, just obvious like everybody else, dealing with rising fuel costs. Office supplies, 15 years ago when Mary started at Animal Control, Sheriff Ash sent me out to help her out. And we went over procedures for writing tickets, and at that time, I took them a case of citations. We are using the last of those citations right now. So they've done pretty good with them, but it's time to print some new ones. And
You need to bump the sheriff for a new case.
well, so the sheriff started putting Wilson County Sheriff on top of them, and they used to not say that. So now I'm gonna have to print my own. And you can't order two tickets, two ticket books. You gotta order several cases, so that's what that's about. Let's see, line 499, from 8,200 to 12,000 for additional supplies. That's just our everyday supplies. You'll actually see some of that description again in non-reoccurring. I guess I probably didn't do a good job of explaining that line. That's everything that we use day to day. We, you put a 300-pound man on the end of a catch pole, aluminum catch pole, and a 100-pound dog on the underside. That catch pole just don't last very long. And so we need to replace items like that quite often. I did use that as examples, but pretty much all of our equipment, things that can wear out, that's what that's for. Training classes, we did really good this past year, and then we were able to get some tuition assistance and get our people in some really good classes. Got a couple coming up, and I have a new person that I really want to get in a couple of classes. The ACOs have to do continuing education, and that's going up this year, so that's what the 1,800 is for. Now I guess to talk about additional personnel, and I think before I do, I'd like to say, I watched the meeting last night, and I know what other people have said. I think above all, I'd like y'all to know, I think Wilson County is a fantastic place to work. Wilson County government's taken good care of me. I raised my family on a paycheck from Wilson County, and I do appreciate it. One of the things I like about working here is that we take care of our employees. I'm coming here and asking for some things, But first and foremost, I want to take care of employees, and I want you to know that that's my priority. And I think it is y'all's too. I just feel like something that as a department head, I should say. The additional personnel is also a lot about taking care of employees. Guys, we're a 24/7, 365-day-a-year operation. There are people at the kennel on Christmas Day, all right? We have enough folks. Well, let me back up just a little bit. When I started, we were working 5 days a week on day shift. The animal control officers were taking turns at on-call, and so every other week, 3 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, they were out answering emergency calls, assisting the sheriff's department, dealing with a dog that had been hit in the road, any other situation that arose, they were having to do it, and they were doing it every other week. So if they had 40 hours this week, and then 8 hours overtime, and then they had on-call, those guys could sometimes work upwards of 60 hours in a week. They have kids, and they have lives, and I want to keep them. The 2 animal control officers we got are fantastic, and they do a really good job, and I don't want to run them off. Part of adding to this is help for the people that I've got there. It is necessary for us to be more than a 5-day-a-week operation. I talked about that. We've talked about it in training classes. We've talked about that in our weekly meetings. And I'm happy to announce I had 2 folks volunteer, and we are now full-time, 7 days a week, day shift. So we have people now on the weekends. I had 2 folks volunteer to each take on a weekend day. Our newest person that we brought in, she works both weekend days. So we have 2 persons each shift. So I've got an animal control officer and a kennel tech there at least all the time during the day. That way we can answer calls on the weekends and not use overtime. And we also have those people there doing the minimum necessary things we have to do, at least the minimum necessary things that we have to do for the animal care. The addition of the kennel tech and the animal control officer, the way we did this is both of those are grade level 5, and I didn't 100% know how to figure this, so I asked for a little bit of help, and we figured this as if it was a person that had 5 years experience. So the numbers I've got is if we were able to find a person with 5 years experience, and that's what we paid them. So I put a little extra in there for, depending on how you look at it, best case or worst case scenario, that's what it would cost us. So I think that we're covered. That allows these people to take vacations. That allows these people to take days off. We bring a dog in, we're required to do some things, like give it a shot. And you bring in a 100-pound dog that's not very happy with you to begin with and try to do that by yourself, it's dangerous. So I'd like to have those people in there just for the extra added purposes there. Our county has really grown, I think faster than we thought it would. I read on our 5-year plan where we had cited a year ago, 2 years ago, a UT number that projected population in Wilson County. And then I looked up today what the U.S. Census says population in Wilson County is, and UT missed it. So we are growing really fast, and I think we see that in our amount of calls and the things that we're doing. On the non-reoccurring, on the last page, I've got 3 iPads. Goes along with our computer system, our in-the-field strategies. This gets the guys that are out in the field when they pick up a dog, rather than trying to bring it to us, we're doing everything we can do to return to the owner in the field. If they can stay out there even the extra 20 minutes to do their report, that truck is in that neighborhood the extra 20 minutes. And I think it's a good strategy for a low cost. I've got on here $2,000, upgrade our cabinets, a safe that we need for upgraded security for some of our security items in our clinic room. All of those items are things that we would be able to move out of that building should we ever need to do that. I've got in here $3,000 for truck equipment. Y'all have bought us a new truck body. We're waiting to take delivery of that. We'll have that truck in here with the body on it and in service, hopefully by the end of the month. This is just items to go along with the truck, and I kind of cited the same things in there, but the items that are standard in those catch poles, nets. Chip scanners are a pretty expensive item. It's about an $800 item. Pole syringes, those type of things that are on the truck every day. And that's it for me.
Okay, any questions for Steve? Okay, thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, juvenile services.
Do you guys, somewhere between juvenile services, probation, and the rain in my car, I left a folder with extra copies. Do you guys have the copies of what I submitted in the,
We have the amount for SOAR program.
okay. So I can run and get it and bring it back if you need it for your meeting, or I can go get it now and come up here later.
Is it more than $10,500?
No, that's it. I just didn't know if you needed it. I just didn't know if you needed everything I submitted in my judicial committee. Okay, sorry. I just want to make sure we have everything we need. So, for juvenile services, I am requesting $21,000 to help fund our SOAR program, which is our mentorship program that we started in 2021. And at that time, the intention was to fund it through donations and sponsorships, and that has proven to be more than a full-time job and very difficult to undertake with the funding that we need to successfully run this program. Our SOAR coordinator recruits the best mentors, speakers, and volunteers, and she's busy with all of the meetings and event planning, and it's just become impossible to get the donations that we need for that. And so we kind of calculated what she spent last year for it, which was $10,500. And so we doubled it to $21,000 because Rutland Elementary is requesting that we come into their school because it's become such a successful program for our kids. And there was a letter from Tracy Sparkman, if you guys have that. She's the principal at Walter J, just talking about what we've done, and attendance is up, test scores are up, attitude is good, and it's just really helping these kids. And so for us to continue on with what we're doing and to start it in our new school, that's why we need this money for the events and programming that we
So
want.
the total amount needed is what?
$21,000.
10.5.
Yeah, we're showing 10.5.
10.5 you've already got plus the.
That, well, no, we don't have anything right now. I guess we were just trying to calculate what would we need to sustain it in Walter J, which is $10,500.
Okay.
But to start at Rutland, we would need $21,000.
So you want 21.
Yes,
Okay.
And that's reoccurring you're asking for?
yes, sir.
And this is a program that takes place in how many schools?
Right now, it's just in Walter J. That was our pilot school, and we really didn't expect for it to be as successful as it is. There's a waiting list for kids. Parents are constantly emailing the office, can you please put my child in this program? We really just wanted to have 8 children in the program, but we have, teachers and principals coming in saying, this child is going through this, and this one's going through, so we continuously take in, new kids because we don't want to turn anybody away. So yeah, it's right now just in Walter J, and other schools are taking note of it and wanting us to come into their school also. But it takes a little while because it's harder than you would think to recruit really good mentors. It's a great idea and people want to do it, but it's hard for them to take on that responsibility of being there for that kid every other week. So, but Jenny's really good at recruiting those mentors, and we're going to get it done in Rutland if we can have the funding to do it.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you, ma'am.
I think I'm next also. Probation, is probation next?
Yep.
Okay. So, for probation services, we are requesting a new full-time position. Right now, we have 3 full-time probation officers managing a caseload of over 800 offenders. I checked today and it was 850, and it's growing every day. Wilson County is growing. Unfortunately, crime is up, and that affects our caseload in the court system. From 2022 to 2023, Judge Lee saw over 2,000 more cases, which affects the percentage of the people we get on probation. And our caseload is growing every day. I mean, it's just surprising how quickly it's growing. And we've only had a 3-officer office since I started in 2014. I haven't asked for a new position. Before that, I don't know the last time they've asked for a new position. And in addition to the normal duties of the probation office, one of the 3 full-time officers is also the office supervisor, and she has additional administrative duties on top of everything else. In 2021, we started a pretrial release program, and that has become a caseload on its own. And so we have an officer overseeing the pretrial release program, and unfortunately, we haven't been able to take away his duties. We've just added. And Judge Lee has begun putting all of our PIC Center defendants on that caseload, which means the PIC Center is a drug and alcohol program for offenders, and we monitor those people closely to get them through the program so that their case may be expunged or dismissed. And like I said, we've got so many people on that caseload that it's just becoming, it's stretching our office way too thin. And when somebody calls out sick or takes a well-deserved vacation, it's very stressful trying to get everything done in the office. And we do have probation. So when somebody's on probation, they have probation fees they have to pay, and those fees will offset the cost of a 4th officer. And so I think I had put that in the paperwork as well.
Any questions? Comments?
I remember you came in mid-budget and you requested for us to, was that for juvenile?
That was probably juvenile for a new position.
And we granted that. I remember it was for.
That was last year.
Okay.
That was for juvenile services, completely
Gotcha.
separate from probation, yeah.
I'm just making sure I'm tracking the same one. Okay.
But matter of fact, luckily, we have become one big family, and so we do get so stretched in probation. Sometimes I have to ask someone from juvenile to just sit in there so someone can take a break, use the restroom, go to court, whatever. I mean, it's becoming pretty difficult to run that office on a 3-man crew.
Anything else? Thank you.
Okay, thank you guys.
Lima. See, you wanna?
I'm gonna do like the rest of them, so you don't feel left out. Hand out some additional papers here. I think you'll be appreciative of them. I hope, anyway.
Is it any longer?
Are you doing,
Am I doing,
you're doing 118 also,
yes,
Angela?
we can do it first.
Okay.
It's actually D on my list. I don't know what your list looks like, but, we're asking, for, in line 118-55130-735 ambulance fund, additional increase of 70,000 in that line, and reason for that is a remount in 2023 was $303,041. There was an increase of 20% after our last purchase, and the lights went up. So this added another $5,937 per remount, which would bring the total to $35,623, and Brian is requesting 2 remounts every year to maintain a safe fleet. So pretty much rounded that out to 70,000. So that's his request for the ambulance fund. Alright, that's it for that line. Section A, number 1 and number 2 is basically inflational cost of our maintenance and repair equipment line and our rental line. So those are just the increases that have occurred for those. Number 3 requesting, these are multiple items in this line, for $20,555. And that is basically for, fire prevention and codes program, preventive maintenance increase on our EMS, narcotic safe support, fit test calibration, IT system inflation, Knox box support, pump testing on their equipment, and fire extinguisher support. So those are all areas that have increased basically for inflation. But it's all in one line, so I combined those together to get that amount. A4, basically inflational cost. 5, office supplies, same thing. Number 6, public relations and community outreach equipment, for $5,400. Number 7, $499. Medical examiner investigator supplies and materials, asking for that increase there. Number 8, cyber and HIPAA training, a yearly cost of doing that annually, $5,300. $599 additional for inflation of $399. Number 10, other contracted services, boat planning system for $30,000. This system will enhance our entire county plans, reviews, and adoptions of those plans. This will benefit the county and all cities within. And mainly we're talking the 2 biggest plans that we have to keep up with for the county. It's the basic emergency operations plan that the whole county has to use during a disaster. And then the hazardous mitigation plan, which all cities and counties have to go by this plan, and that plan has to be in place in order for them to fund any projects that we have. So this is basically a system. Instead of doing everything by hand, you can enter it in a computer, and it does your overall reports at the end that you turn into the state, which goes to the federal level. It makes that turnaround a lot quicker and kind of takes out some of the human error that occurs during times like that. So that's why we're asking for that. B, section B, number 1, telecommunicator. We're asking for this for an additional dispatcher to relieve overtime usage and to operate shifts uniformly across the board. This is over at the communication center, dispatch center. I think 911 and the sheriff's department have a uniform across the board on shift change and amount of people they work. Well, we're still behind on that. And this additional person will help get us to that uniform across that board. So that's why I'm asking for
You're
that.
just asking for one.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right, B2 is asking for personnel for another ambulance crew in the Lebanon area. And by the way, both of these numbers that I have on here are today's numbers. It don't include any adjustments if they come down the road or step plans. So, anyway, these will be for a Lebanon ambulance crew, 3 paramedics and 3 EMTs, due to the increased call volume relief of Station 8, Station 6, and Station 2 that have to come in support of Station 1 and 9, which again runs the most calls in Wilson County. So with that being run all the time, other stations have to come in and support them in that endeavor, and this will relieve some of that. And that's one that we've turned in, on more than one occasion. All right, section C, one-time occurrence.
Okay, hang on a second.
Oh, sorry.
On our list, we had,
In-service training?
3 new positions for Noreen and
Yes,
We have, what our list is showing, I'm trying to cross-reference. We had 2 telecommunicators instead of 1 apparently.
yes,
Then we had, the 3 paramedics and 3 EMTs we had within $8,000 of each other. Then we have 3, we actually have 6
Yes.
more.
yes.
Okay,
Those were deleted
those have been deleted. That's all I need to
by
know.
the department.
Sorry about that, sir.
In line A, you should have a line deleted also.
the 200,000 in service?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So we're going for this one right here.
That was deleted. B3 and B4 was deleted.
Okay. I think we're caught up now.
Well, there's several in C also
And Joey,
that we're
the
fixing.
third ambulance would be at one of our stations in Lebanon, right? The third ambulance here.
Yes,
And we
yes.
also, we bought the ambulance. for a while.
Correct. The ambulance is involved, yes. Waiting on it to come in, yes. Yes.
There you go.
All right, several items in C, and the reason for this, the reason they were took off was because of the way that the fire engines were funded, a couple months back. So instead of using our fire fund to fund those engines, now we can use that fund as expected and replace equipment that we have that needs replaced and or, buy new equipment for the engines when needed. So a lot of that was took off. But first, let's see, C3 was took off, C4, C5. Yep, and those are the main ones. Anyway, C1, data processing equipment, this is for a firewall update. All of our stuff is now unsupported and out of date in relation to that. So we're requesting that. C2 is for renovation of Station 2 in Watertown to accommodate more people and more equipment. C3, fire and ambulance support equipment. This is replacing, let me make sure I get that right. Replacing ballistic helmets and vests. This was purchased initially in fiscal year 18 and 19 off Homeland Security grant. Expired in 2023 on both the engines and ambulance. This is a national standard in rescue task force world now, with, oh heck, what do you call it? Where they come in and shoot somebody, you know?
Active.
Active shooter, there you go. Slipped my head. I don't deal with it, so I forget. Alright, so that's what that's for. C4 is the setup for A10, the bold planning. And then C5 is for fire gear and fire school for B2.
Okay, and that's at 33,000,
Yes, sir.
because we had.
Yes, sir, that was
44,
actually more
250.
people, so I took those people, other people off and lowered that number
Okay.
to accommodate.
Okay, I think I got my notes straight. Y'all
Yes.
got your notes straight?
Yes, sir.
I hope.
So basically, you don't have our list in front of you.
No, I don't.
Basically, what we took off, based on what we were sitting here doing on the C side, I guess. We had,
Let me find mine.
G1 air packs we got rid of.
Yes.
We had station status boards we
Yes.
got rid of. We had PR community tow trailer,
Yes,
and then that was it, just a change on the amount of personnel fire gear.
correct.
That's all. Everything else.
You are on board. Yes,
Your ballistic helmet and vest, you mentioned that they were purchased on a grant.
yes.
Is that possible that we can get that again?
Not, no. I think that's something been tried. So,
Okay. Any questions for Joey? Or have you got something else?
no, not in relation to that. I would like to say, that I
No, you're
appreciate.
fine. No, you can't say a
I can't say that. I didn't know if I could or not. No, hey, for one, I appreciate what y'all have done in the past for, not only for us, but for the whole county. And I'm not talking about just people, you know, funding people or whatever. You know, I think we can show that this county is all about doing that. And I appreciate everything that y'all have done for us up to this point, and looking forward to doing that more as we go along. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, tourism.
Evening, everyone. Sure, I need this microphone. So we have 5 items to discuss tonight. First one being the Wilson County Black History Museum. For those of you that may not know, they're going through a major renovation at their facility. And although they have been very successful in their fundraising, to the tune of, at the time they presented, was 63% of the overall cost. They've requested additional funds of $6,500, non-recurring. And then you're going to notice the next 3 have to do with the chambers. And the Lebanon and Mount Juliet Chamber specifically are in reference to helping small businesses right about that 2-year mark with a business mentorship and events they hold to basically help that kind of a time frame of making sure they get past that 2 years in business so that they can stay in business and we can all be a stronger economically driven company or county. And then the last one is Watertown. That's just the added expenses for their annual events. And again, they just don't have the business money driving that, and they're asking for some help. And the last item is Historic Watertown, and that is operating, maintenance, and lawn expense that are just, cost keeps driving up. Any questions?
Any questions?
Thank you all.
Short and sweet. Thank you, sir. Finance?
Yeah, Brian, you wanna take this one more than anybody? Are you sure?
Aaron, can we get you to come up here to the podium?
Yeah, I'll be glad to. So we're hoping to bring somebody on, somebody who's really already working with us, but they're working with us as a contractor. We hope to bring them on if they're interested, but whether it's them or somebody else, we need an administrative assistant, which is a lower level person to help with copiers and running copies and scanning and a myriad of other tasks that right now, you know, we're oftentimes just taking care of ourselves. So we definitely have a use for that. We also, what I don't have on this list, she's asking for, we're asking for an increase of 1,000 in salary supplements, and that goes to people who, who complete certain education courses. The other thing that we don't have on the list, we realized during this last audit period that we had an issue with grants and not being probably as active in the grant stuff as we needed to be. Lauren Lauren has worked extensively on that. I don't have a number for it right now, it's the reason it's not on the list, but we're looking at actually having her pretty much doing the grants full-time. Her title will become grant coordinator. I should have that in the next few days, but I don't have it right now. Maybe, I don't know that it'll change, you know, I've sent it up the chain. I don't have a clue what it'll come back at, it'll be up to you guys to approve, but we've gotta be much more active in the management of grants than we've been in the past. There are actually clauses in a lot of these grants that will say, if you don't do one of these things, you may have to send us all the money back.
Right.
We don't need to get trapped in that kind of situation where we don't have enough staff to monitor what's going on. That we're checking with the outlining departments who are responsible for the day-to-day operation of the grant. Have you done your required reporting? Send us a copy, so on and so forth. So it's a lot to explain. I'm sure Lauren would be glad to take you in their office and show you all her red binders and
There are 19 active grants right now.
yeah.
Plus some corporates too.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Yeah.
thank you.
So-
You're welcome.
Job security.
So that's what we're asking for. And I don't, well, I'll save the other one for later. It's not really a monetary issue, so that's what we're asking for.
So it's 36,782 plus
Which is
grant coordinator.
If there's a change there, we have to find out.
All right. Any other questions? All right. Medical examiner?
Yeah, I guess we'll have to speak to that as well. They went up in price on the contract. You remember how much the price increase was? 200?
I want to say it's 275.
275? We had an opportunity to enter into a multi-year contract with them, which didn't work out. I would continue to recommend that we do enter into a multi-year contract with them because that prevents them from having large price increases that you otherwise just have to eat if you contract with them on an annual basis. Like I say, at the time, that didn't happen because we were in a state of flux with our previous investigator moving over and becoming a county employee, and for one reason or another, the contract never got reviewed and finished, and so regardless, this is where we are now. But I would encourage that we move forward with getting a contract with, this is for the company that does the autopsy, so I would recommend that we get a multi-year deal with them, so we don't see price increases probably quite as often.
Okay, you doing other charges also?
Yes,
Yeah, sorry. Other charges, this is basically for the pay plan and increase in dues. So every year, not every year, every other year, Human Resources comes forward and asks for money for the pay plan. We just figured if that's gonna be a normal part of what we do, pay study, I guess I should say, if that's gonna be a normal part of what we do, then there's no reason to keep coming back and asking for that out of the budget. It's gonna be another one of those situations like we've discussed several times tonight. We come across a year where we don't have a pay study, that money's not gonna be spent. But if we know we're gonna do a pay study every other year, it doesn't make sense for us to come back every other year and ask for another $20,000 for a pay study. And the other side of that is just increase in dues cost. We're, dues that we pay have gone up, and we probably have more things that we're a part of. It's probably a combination of both. And it's not just us, that covers the whole county, those dues that I'm talking about. That's not just in the finance department.
Okay, any questions for Aaron? Okay, thank you, sir. HR? No HR?
Since Ronja, I didn't want to talk about
I'll
it. Darren, you glad?
Okay.
I would, tag.
Yeah.
So I apologize, but Director Scruggs is unavailable this evening due to some family stuff going on. But she would like to have her travel line increased by $2,000 due to conferences per diem and the hotel cost for flights. For communications, that is increase in cost for internet, phone, and mobile services. And for 435 for office supplies, just an increase. No, actually, these are for computer replacements. It's becoming time for them to start replacing their computers. I will say, if you have any questions for her, I can request that she come to the next budget meeting and you can ask her.
Yeah, I've got a question, so yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
Okay.
Would computer replacement be recurring or non-recurring?
I thought the same, it seems like to me that would be probably non-recurring.
Well, since we're talking about computer replacements, are we allowing the IT department to take that out of their budget line, or is it gonna be coming out of? Because I know there's been some discussion, and I don't wanna go too deep into it, but.
Sure, so there's what's supposed to happen and what does happen sometimes. What's supposed to happen is I walk in my office and, click my computer on, and, what I get is the black screen of death, which we're all familiar with, right? Blue, but mine was actually black. Anyway,
Yours is worse.
yeah,
Yeah.
so I call up IT. IT doesn't at that point in time order me a computer. They bring one that they have, and they come and set it up to get me up and running that day. Now, what's supposed to happen is then either I buy a replacement that then goes into the pool for them to do that with the next person, or when my computer comes in, they come set my computer up. What's happened is some departments have been real happy. Ooh, I got a free computer for IT.
No, you didn't.
They don't ever order the replacement themselves. So we're gonna try to stop that, where
Yeah.
people are gonna pay for their own computers.
Right.
That's where a section where IT has tried to be more helpful than they probably should have. So the computers will be ordered through the IT department. When we place an order, we're probably gonna let them place the order, but it's gonna be off of a finance department purchase order, so to speak. They're gonna tell us what it is we need to get. We're gonna place the order. Now, they may give us a loaner to deal with until they get ours set up and running.
Because the whole goal is to have them here for a service to help people. That's how they were intended. But when it comes for somebody to buy IT equipment, each department needs to buy their own.
Correct.
We don't want a budget in IT.
Agree with that 100%. I think they understand it. I think they didn't know how to,
They get caught in it because it's like the same deal we've been dealing with on the camera stuff. Hey, can you come put a camera in because we think you're our guy?
yeah.
But we've had that conversation, and if you want a computer, it's gonna come out of your budget, it ain't coming out of ours.
That's the way it should be. Absolutely. I mean, it is with the sheriff's office and probably Wayman and everybody else.
Yeah.
It's easier for those two to do that than it is for the rest of us general
Sure.
government folks.
Okay, but back to my question, which column does that?
I'm gonna go with,
Just
she
reoccurring.
said office supplies, but I'm gonna go with non-recurring, because she just specifically mentioned one computer, so we'll go with non-recurring.
So that needs to move over.
Correct.
Okay. Aaron, is there anything else you want to present?
You're on a roll.
I think they're tired of hearing me. I think it's your turn.
But he specifically
You want
asked.
to present veterans?
She is.
Okay.
He's jealous, so I'll do. So unfortunately, due to medical reason, Miss Director C is not gonna be available this evening. But she did send me an email for me to read, to present to you guys her needs. She says that everyone in her office is accredited and certified service officer. If we add an additional, taking this part-time person to a full-time position, this will complete her office staff, and all positions will now be a full-time if approved. She's requesting to convert her part-time to a certified service officer. Her office is assisting over 400 veterans monthly. In September of '23, she served 423 individuals. In October, she served 417. November, 359. In December, 285. This number is lower due to the holidays. In January, she served 396, February 410, March 417, and in April 442. To continue to provide the highest level of quality and assistance to our veterans and their eligible dependents, this position needs to be in our office every day. They help with walk-ins, unhoused veterans, our No Vet Left Behind program, and veterans outreach. They will ensure there is little to no wait lists, take in walk-ins, and do home visits when required. This position is an essential part of our office and will help keep our services and processes streamlined. Thank you for your time and consideration. And again, if I can request her to come if you've got questions.
This is just one individual?
Yes, sir. And if you'll notice, I do have that negative in that part-time because they are there part-time right now. So this is the number that would carry forward with them, but I've deducted that off the amount that she would actually need to make them a full-time person.
Any questions? Okay. Ag Center.
I will start with the recurring items. Those we'd like to see those stay the same. And then as far as the needs assessment goes, number one on the list would be for additional money for stone and gravel. This would be due to the fact that we're going to have to do some more work around the Tennessee building as far as parking up there, especially we had a gun show there in January, and the way that we had to do the parking there, we're just going to require quite a bit more gravel up there to get where we can get everybody parked efficiently. Anybody that's been to the expo lately with as much rain as we've had, you'd see, we've got several muddy areas out there, especially close to the building, that need to be addressed there. When we built the new stall barn up in the livestock barn, in the livestock area up there, there was no, that was started out being a paved road, and now there's, we need to go back in there with gravel and, and fix that back up. And then as far as repair of buildings, I've got $20,000 on that, which, as you guys all know, we have, several buildings out there that are getting some age on them. And I mean, I know 20,000 would not go, do a whole lot, but it would at least go, help us out as far as, getting some additional work done. And then also a fence by the office that would run kind of between our office and the expo there, or we just have the silver cattle panels going down right there to kind of match the other side of the expo, I think would, definitely, as far as improve the aesthetics of that. But, that's, any questions for me?
Thank you, sir. Expo Center?
Evening, folks. So the Expo Center is coming up on 8 years old, and our AV system is lacking. What you'll find in the packet there is two different quotes. One is with and including LED screens similar to what is in the Made in Tennessee building. And the other quote is, it's taking our current projectors that are in the main exhibit hall and refurbishing them and doing an upgrade to them and upgrading the size of the screens in the main exhibit hall. Currently, they're undersized. According to everybody that we've talked to, the quotes that you have came in, this was the lowest quote of 2. The other quote was a little bit more, but it did not include quite as much material. We struggle probably on the average of once a week. I'm calling IT to come over and assist with issues, because when we have folks that are in the South Hall area or even the main exhibit hall, probably 85%, I'm guessing, people that come in, they want use of screens, projectors, microphones, and there again, the sound system in the main exhibit hall is insufficient. We have a large number of folks that are contracting out, pardon me, and bringing in secondary sound systems, speakers and mixer boards and the whole 9 yards. So what we're looking for is to upgrade the entire AV system, if possible.
Questions?
Do we have that additional equipment? You mentioned the IT department assisting. We bring over additional equipment to help you guys out in that situation?
He's bought a few things over just as a Band-Aid to get things going. If we run into a problem, say the speakers are just not working in South Hall Room A for whatever reason, he has brought over some secondary speakers to use in a pinch. Some microphones that we've had to acquire and add a small mixer board.
So pretty much we've been having to help out.
We've
quite
been
often.
Band-Aiding it.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, sir.
Zendel, it says estimate only on it. How firm of an estimate is this?
This was the quote that came through IT. I would suspect that with the current economic conditions, that it could be a little more, like everything else. But obviously, if we had to go in here and I don't know, look at a different brand of equipment, there may be some ways to work with the contractor and make an attempt to work that number down, or at least keep it at this number.
They, by any chance, give you a life? What's the life of it? I know LEDs tend to last longer, draw less.
Less power.
Less power, so they happen to give you a lifespan and what it would give us.
He did not.
What the would look like.
Not in this particular quote. Aaron?
The lifespan on an LED wall is about 7 years, depending on the usage.
And this quote came through one of the current contractors that we utilize.
Correct, they did the Zoom system for the 2 port systems that are used.
Who was that?
Pass.
Who?
Pass, the vendor.
Have
This vendor right here, I think yeah.
Aaron, is there an opportunity to put something of this expense out to bid to?
Yeah, we will have to have it out to bid, but we at least needed a baseline. The other quote that we got was about a little bit more, and that only included the main exhibit hall, didn't include the South Hall at all.
Okay.
So the other one's about 500,000 for just the main exhibit hall.
You wanna add something?
She's about to bust.
I know.
Zendel has all the data, and he obviously is working the events and helping them set up, but I will say from a marketing standpoint and from an event planner standpoint, this is an expectation that they have coming in. It's a way for us to be competitive. We have other venues that are being built around us that are going to have this. We do need to remain competitive, and when we have events, we literally just this week lost an event to the Made in Tennessee building because our AV was not up to par. Adult graduation is another one that has struggled with it, and they're now paying extra money to bring in outside AV because what we have is subpar. So it's really a matter of whether or not we have the tools we need to remain competitive and current in what we can offer. And I would also like to add that if we build out what is in this quote, it does give us an opportunity to look at what we can charge for. So instead of them farming out that sound system, now we might have an opportunity to make some money on that, as well as revisit the rent amount, because that rent amount is something the Ag Committee has asked us to look at in terms of reoccurring, bringing it a balance. Because if you look at the ratio per square foot in South Hall and the ratio per square foot in the main exhibit hall, they're not on the same plane yet. But you can't just go from here to here and expect people to just absorb that. So far, everybody has just absorbed the 2 increases we've done, and we've got a third one coming. But it's really kind of hard to justify raising the rent, and I've got subpar equipment.
Sure.
So I just wanted that for consideration, because also it keeps him running, trying to fix things that don't work well, or him running, keep trying to fix things that don't work well when we're in the middle of it. And trust me, if you are an event planner and you have a presentation and the sound and AV go out on you, you are not happy, and the first thing you're going to do is come and try to negotiate a decrease in the rent. And they do ask.
Got a question that was sent to me. The fund for 124 balance, and how much is the expo contributing annually?
That's a good question. I have that answer for you.
She must have said it to ask.
No, the commissioner.
2021 to 2023, we have contributed $551,025.41.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Did you have a question?
No question.
That was a very perplexing look. I just pulled that from the report that I give to County Commission, so that's where I pulled that from.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other question? Okay, I'll sit down now.
Anything else? All right. Have I left anybody out?
No, sir, I don't think so.
Not this time?
I do have one question for the mayor. This doesn't have to be addressed right now during budget time, does it?
What are you gonna?
So, you
It's
know,
gonna come out of fund balance.
at the end of the day, what she's trying to say is the conversation we've had for quite some time. We've done the study on the expo to see, is it paying for itself? Is it paying for the bond? We've done that 6-year study, but it doesn't have its own fund balance. So if it makes money, it just goes into the one fund balance. And so the question that Zendel's always asked me, how do I get into that? And before, we just had a way to get into that. So it's there's some money there. I'll look at it because I just did a number, so the 5 something, I'm not sure. But there is money there, and it come from that. And you do have to keep up what we got, the facility we got, because it is turning some money over for you. So does it have to happen at budget? No, but there's no reason it can't happen. It can't happen at budget because it's gonna be its own separate fund, just like some of this other stuff we talked about tonight. So we can do it. So, I mean, I think whether Aaron does it or whether they contract with somebody different to come up with the kind of specs that you want, have an independent company to draw that up like we did with the other stuff that we did in there, put that out to bid, and then come back in, and then you'll know what numbers you got. And I don't know how much our fund balance is, 2-something billion. So,
2.2.
yeah, so it's not a hard deal to do when y'all are ready to do it.
But Aaron, this is what you've spec'd out, what we would, if we were gonna put this out to bid, what's listed in here is what we would need.
Oh, yes, sir.
But I mean, that, we could take that and set the bid with it, is what I'm saying.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And the only question, and I know a lot about technology, so I'll go ahead and claim that out the front. But I know before we reached out to IT to kind of help us set that system up, and not that my IT people wasn't good at the day, but as he told me, this is not what I do for a living. So in this case here, do we need to get someone that actually does this all the time? I know you do a lot, do we need to do that, like, who's the guy that we use before? Not systems integration, but the other guy.
The name escapes me, I mean.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would definitely reach out to someone, whether it's Tabs or them, to come in and draw the entire specs.
Gotcha.
And it's submitted, and use that to get the bid, correct?
Yeah, I just think that takes the pressure off of
Right.
you and me and everybody else.
Well, where I'm going with this, Mayor, we're right where we were a year ago with it, talking about we need it, but we really can't say what it's gonna cost and can we afford it. So, look like to me, we need to put a plan together of what we need or what we wanna purchase and put it out to bid and get a number and go to either buy it or not.
Right.
If this committee and the ag committee say it's okay for where the funds come from without saying how much, and then give them the go-ahead, they can do that. I think they're waiting on, they're not gonna put it out until you tell them you can do it. If you
Well,
tell
I
them, let's
mean,
go, let's
but
go.
really, we left here last year when we got done with the budget expecting to do that and we didn't do it. And that's our fault, but it's time to.
If you say go, you'll get it done.
And if we have a person that sets forth the parameters and specifications, then everybody bids on the
That's what
same
I'm talking
equipment.
about.
Exactly, a bid.
What we've
A
done in
trade
the
bid.
past is we've paid for the specs to be done. That way, if somebody wants to do it, the specs wants to bid it, they can, because we're paying for that amount right, not as. And many times, if that person gets the quote, they back that off of what they were gonna charge them for the specs. But we do always ask somebody else to do it. That way, we don't take the blame. We got somebody else that's doing it, and then if they're not done correctly, it goes back to that person that we paid.
And he can determine what our minimum requirements are based on what we've got now versus what he sees that we are struggling with.
Well, I think y'all would want to work together and say, this is what I'm looking for, and help guide that ship. Yeah, and definitely he knows the technical side. But the person that does it for a living every day would be the one I would hope that would
Yes.
draw the specs up, and he's saying yes, yeah.
Do we need to go ahead and entertain that motion and get the ball going for them to go ahead and work on that?
Is it proper to make a motion right now for that?
This committee can, I mean, we, you know, all we're doing tonight is accepting stuff, but if
That's
you
what I'm
make any
saying.
motions on anything else, you can do that too, we're in session. We're taking minutes, we're
I
live.
mean, I'll put it in the form of a motion then if it's proper.
I'll second that, for them to get.
Okay, the motion is to what exactly?
Set up the specs for what we wish to purchase, and present it to the ag committee and put on the finance to put out the bid
For what facility?
for the expo center. And the funds would come out of the fund balance for the ag center, of course.
Got it.
All right. Have a motion and a second. Any other questions or comments?
So what I heard him say was, we have the authority to go ahead and put specs together, put it out to bid, bring the process back to the ag committee, for the funding of this system.
Correct.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Is there anything else concerning the budget? Okay, so we need a motion to, your point is on
We don't have to do, we don't have to.
I want to get clarification,
Yeah.
and I'll do it.
Okay.
Because we'll be back again for the education presentation,
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
and I talked to him today. He's got a status quo budget coming to you. No needs, because they got their need money already, so he'll be back for that. And at that time, we'll do that.
Right.
So we need a motion to accept what has been presented tonight.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? One other
Motion adjourned.